Wow, happy day you're having today. Hopefully, you're having a glorious day today. It's a little bit overcast here in Texas. I think we got a couple of storms rolling in, but that's pretty fine. And speaking about storms, I don't know how well this video is going to do. I know this is a hot topic that's there's a lot of emotions on both sides, especially when it deals with kids, when it deals with minors, when you're dealing with people with mental disability, not knowing what they're actually agreeing to. But of course, there's a whistleblower speaks up about Texas minor gender-affirming care, and this title by Christopher F. Rufo. They're wanting to play God. A new whistleblower describes the horrors of gender-affirming care at Texas Children's Hospital. I have a very, very strong stance. This is where my biases are going to be kicking in. I'm very biased. I don't believe in trans kids. I believe if they are definitely suffering from gender dysphoria, when they turn age 18, they could go ahead and start the procedure. We have tattoo laws for this because, they're just too young to alter their body, and tattooing is altering their body. But it seems like some people don't think that should be applied for sterilizing a kid at a young age, not truly understanding or mentally understanding the consequences of that action. So, of course, this is from cityjournal.org under their Eye on the News, Healthcare, the Social Order. This was published on May 23rd, 2023. Last week, I worked with a whistleblower to expose the child sex change program at Texas Children's Hospital. Executives have promised to stop such procedures, but as the medical records demonstrate, this was not done. Doctors secretly continue providing puberty blockers and other hormones to children between the ages of 11 and 17. Within days of the story publication, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton launched an official investigation saying that children are not to be treated as a science experiment, and that the state legislature secured the votes to pass bipartisan bill. Was it really bipartisan? Maybe. Maybe there's some evil Democrats that are wising up not to mess with kids. Pass a bipartisan bill, SB 14, that would outlaw all so-called gender-affirming care for minors. Now, a new whistleblower has come forward with allegations against Dr. Richard Ogen Roberts, one of the leaders of the TCH Child Sex Change Program. The whistleblower is a medical professional who has spent a significant amount of time observing Roberts, working with the gender dysphoric patients and their family. I'm absolutely sick to my stomach, this person says, expressing heartbreak at the number of children who have been led down the path of sterilization and regret. We've ruined them. I mean, this is why you gotta at least wait until you're 18. Now, I would say you probably have to wait until you're probably 20, 21, maybe even 22 before you actually do any life-altering procedures. But that's just because I think people should just live their life a little. And that's the same thing for joining the military. I think I joined when I was 20 or 21, I forget. But I lived like a couple of years before joining to get the better understanding of how to be mature enough or not mature enough. It really doesn't matter. But this transcript has been edited for length and clarity. Texas Children's Hospital and Dr. Roberts did not respond to a request for comment. Let's hear Christopher Rufio. Start at the beginning and tell me what you've seen. The whistleblower. work very close with the provider, Dr. Richard Roberts, and I've been in the room with him when he speaks to these patients. I've just wanted to see for myself and how he speaks to them and how the transgender patients, what they look like with their history and what other underlying medical conditions they have. And it's absolutely astonishing. There's so many of the charts I have just perused and read through, and I'm doing my work. They have serious mental health issues. They're autistic. They have previous suicide attempts. They're desperate. They're on anxiety medicine. They have disability of some kind. It's just absolute wild. So let's punish them by sterilizing them, telling them that they're wrong. They're in the wrong gender. Tell me more about Dr. Roberts and his demeanor and his approach inside the clinic's room. Is he addressing those underlying problems, or is he just saying gender-affirming care is the answer to all your problems? He is concerned about his lane, and he's staying in that lane in the terms of prescribing estrogen or testosterone. If there's a patient who comes in who wants a increase of testosterone, for example, he'll totally do it. He'll up the dose and have personally seen letters and referrals that he has made for double mastectomies. He's written letters to other states referring these kids to get surgeries, saying that he's 100% on board because they qualify under the gender dysphoria criteria and that the diagnosis from the WPATH, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, the WPATH, I guess, the professional society that sets the standards for transgender medicine, is just really sad. They looking for affirmation. They're seeking validation and approval of the adults that are in their lives. They're insecure. This is just from my interaction with these patients. How does hospitals approach these transgender minors? In our hospital, they have completely gone full-blown woke and changed people's sex to whatever they identify as instead of their biological sex. And that's across the board. They've changed the names of kids to what the kids want to be referred to, as you have to dig a little deeper to discover, oh, this is actually a female who's actually named whatever, is not Anthony. There's this one particular story I want to share. There was a 10-year-old girl that went into the room with the adolescent, college provider, and that she was transgender. She wanted to be referred to her preferred name. We'll say that her preferred name was John. She wanted to be referred to as John. She was in the room with her mom, and they were Hispanic origin, and they were essentially there essentially for a period-related issue. The conversation gets going, and the provider refers to her as him. She says, "John, what's going on? What can I do for you today?" Then the mom replies, accidentally referring to the daughter as her. She says, well, she's having these kinds of issues, these kinds of pains. And then the girl turns around and looks at the mom, and she goes, "I'm a he, Mom. I'm a he." At the age of 10. That's like third grade, maybe fourth grade. No, I think it's third grade. And I'm watching this exchange, and the girl is this beautiful girl, but she's dressed like a boy, very masculine, baggy pants, oversized shirt. Then the doctor asks this girl, "How are your periods coming along?" No, it'd be fourth or fifth, maybe even sixth grade. I don't really want to think about that because it's kind of creepy. Would you like for your periods to go away? Do you feel uncomfortable? And the girl looks at your doctor and says, "Yes, can we do that?" "Yes, I would love that." And then the provider tells the girl, "It's totally fine. You don't have to have a period at all if you don't want to." And of course, this is all because she's trying to transition to be a boy and she doesn't want a period. And the mom had this puzzled look. The mom had some real concerns, and this provider totally shut her down. Pretty much, shut up, mom. We own your kid type of mentality. They're playing gods at such a young age, too. Did they say it was 10? Let's see here. But a 10-year-old. Like I said, I don't want to think about children having periods. That's just weird. But how do these children react to being placed on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones? All interactions I've had at these kids at first seem very happy with what's going on. They're noticing all these changes in their bodies. For the girls, they're getting a lot more hair in different parts of their body. Their voices are changing, getting deeper. They don't sweat as much. They don't have much acne. And they seem very satisfied with that and those changes. Dr. Roper is extremely encouraging with their transition and will essentially do whatever he can to make sure that they're happy. At least externally happy, because I'm absolutely certain that they're not internally happy. He's very accommodating. He does whatever they want. Essentially, there is no critical analysts for the process. Critical. How fast are the decisions made to prescribe puberty blockers to these children? Is it the same day? Yes, if they fit the WPATH criteria for gender dysphoria, which is widely available online, these kids get coached on exactly what to say through Reddit and all these sites. They know exactly the verbiage to use. That's an interesting point. These kids get coached on exactly what to say through Reddit and all these sites. Could it be possible that trans kids is a byproduct of the social media experiment that we're still learning to navigate to this day? I mean, I think Twitter's only been around for about 10-ish years, Facebook a little bit longer, MySpace a little bit longer than that. I mean, the concept of the internet that we know of is only 25 years old, give or take a few years. It's still an adolescent. This is something new, and we haven't exactly figured out how to navigate, how to protect the future, which is our kids. They know exactly verbiage to use. They have established a care with Dr. Roberts, and he has a conversation with them. He essentially starts them on puberty blockers almost immediately. Do the parents push back against this? Usually what happens is at first, maybe one parent or two, they'll be confused and they'll be wondering why. But then when they come to the appointment and they're with Dr. Roberts, from what I can tell, they show that they are supportive. I think they're just scared. They're scared of what? They're scared of being reported to Child Protective Service. They're scared that if they don't affirm their child, that their child is going to commit suicide and do self-harm, which is a lie. They are really intimidated by these doctors that are on the side of their kids and have a lot of power. They could report them and their child could be taken away from them. That's a scary thought. You're a parent. You don't subscribe to trans kids, because I don't think they exist. Now, once you turn 18 and you still have body dysphoria or gender dysphoria, then we could be talking about a totally different topic because you're an adult. But we're talking about kids. Kids don't really have the mental capability to understand the consequences of these actions. And then to add insult to injury, if you're a parent and you have a doctor, that doctor has the authority to call CPS on you and get the child taken away from you. And the kid transitions anyways. How do you feel observing this? I'm absolutely sick to my stomach, absolutely just devastated. Literally, sometimes I have to go outside and cry because I don't mean to be dramatic, but I truly feel that there's a demonic presence at my workplace. And I am so 100% against the whole ideology and this movement that children just feel like they were born in the wrong body and then being affirmed by adults who want to take advantage of them and make a buck. Transgender medicine is a hugely lucrative. It's like $70,000 to $80,000 per kid. They go through the whole thing, all the pharmaceutical drugs, all these companies that are making millions of dollars. I don't have the stats at the tip of my research, but I will say that plastic surgeries have been declining. Not enough people are getting boob jobs. They're accepting who they are. So there's a decline in that revenue for plastic surgery. Usually plastic surgeries are being done for corrective appearances. Let's say you were attacked by a bear or attacked by a dog. They'll do plastic surgery to do corrective repairs for your appearances on that. But far as the sex symbol plastic surgery has been declining, and now with transitioning, they've been able to market themselves to these people to the most disadvantaged and take advantage of them. So that's also another part. I don't know if that's included within the $70,000 to $80,000 price tag, but it is something to consider. Plastic surgery wants to stay in business, but if they have no clients, they have to create a new market. Unfortunately, that's people with a mental disability, which is gender dysphoria, which triggers the transgender aspect of it. Do you have colleagues who feel the same way but are just too scared to speak out? I know of two, at least, who feel this way, but they do not share their opinions because we're afraid to lose our jobs. There's a culture of fear surrounding these procedures at Texas Children's Hospital. A culture of fear, yes. I think it's unspoken. It's the undercurrent. It's not something that any of us would want to question or find out by questioning. I worked really hard to get where I am. I make amazing money. I have a great job. It's difficult, but I'll be willing to lose my job because this does matter to me. I've come to the point where I'm just saying, hey, this has to stop and if I can help our Attorney General or our governor to investigate my employer and provide them with documentations or proof, sign me up. What motivates your colleagues to do these procedures? I would probably say ESG and money. There's money to be made. They're activists. These are doctors. These doctors are activists, and they live for the applause of the medical community and praise and glorifies this up-and-coming success that has absolutely exploded, this transgender wing of the medicine that has exploded over the last 10 years. They're regarded as up-and-coming and cutting edge. Well, they're definitely cutting. I don't know if it's cutting edge, but they're definitely cutting. And anyone on their side, the media is, and everyone's on their side. The media is on their side. Big tech is on their side. Everyone is applauding the providers who do this, and I don't think that they think that they're changing the world by what they're doing, for better or worse. I think that they believe that they're making their mark on history and they're wanting to play God. But ultimately, you can't play God. I mean, you can't play God. You could try your best, but the issue is the unintended consequences of these actions. I wonder how many of these people are going to start suing their parents, start suing the doctors, start suing the therapists for ruining their life by allowing them to go through these procedures. Now, it could be 2%, it could be 4%, or it could even be 0.5%. But the fact that there are detransitioners, there's people that regret it because doctors want to play God, tells me there's enough people to pause this until we figure out why they detransition, why they regret their decision. But of course, back to this. No, it will not turn out well. There's absolutely no proof that transgender surgery will cure the patient's depression or whatever mental health issues that they're going through, which I believe is real. We have a generation of kids with mental health problems. It is very sad, and we need to treat those problems correctly, not by recommending that they could change their gender to fix their mental health problem. That's never worked. That will never work. There's no proof that it will work anywhere in the literature. So, yes, we're ruining them. They're going to wake up in 10 years and discover that they're infertile and they can't have children and their sexuality is completely dysfunctional and they cannot function as a normal human being. And yes, and ultimately, I believe the realization is going to cause them to harm themselves when they wake up and realize that they've already been ruined. Let's see here. I mean, there's there's a lot. But I'm just going to read a couple of comments from Sam Gammy. The trans-industrial complex is a huge money-making machine which is aimed at getting confused or deluded children on hormones which will destroy their fertility, lead to bone loss, not Boeing, but bone loss, and diminish their intelligence. Decisions who condone this horror are going to, in the long run, pay the price. Some will go to jail. Many will lose their medical license, and many will be sued. Insurance are already pulling back from insuring gender-affirming care because these children did not sign informed consent. They signed assent, and the parents signed the consent. The children are not signing. This will be, in the long run, a hole that a good lawyer can drive very lucrative medical malpractice through. That's the ultimate game for this nonsense billion-dollar lawsuit. Former patient says, I had some mental health issues, and the next thing you know, I had a double mastectomy, etc. The doctor in the hospital and other third parties involved lose everything. Malpractice insurance will bail out the hospital, will bail out, and that will be the end of it. Several such suits are underway right now. When one hits the jackpot, it's all over. Contrast to the insanity, the slightly previous woo flu insanity, they will let the uninformed and unqualified parents make such permanent life-destroying decision for their children, but will not let me decide that I can take a known harmless drug called hydrochloroquine, widely used around the world to cure my viral infection. One they manufactured and let loose, blah, 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 I'm not going to say that. Any kid can walk up in the street nearly in any other country on the planet for the equivalent of $3.50 US buy, blah, 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 yeah. Let's see here. I'm not going to finish that. Hopefully YouTube doesn't ban this video. Who cares if it does? I got Rumble. Straw man, all medical healthcare services benefit from profit sharing just because they do not diminish their value, their legitimacy, or their dependency on expert knowledge does not include hysterical, reactionary, armchair disgust, sensibility. Of course, not all our profiteering has value and can be purely exploitative. See the anti-trans industrial complex rhetoric, Matt Walsh, Rufo, Colin Wright, Leo Saparo, etc. Gender-affirming care is based on decades of clinical experience and research, so it's hardly experimental with any reasonable risks known by now that have yet to produce statistically relevant price. In fact, it's just the opposite. All right, AO. I would disagree. I mean, if you're an adult and you want to transition, you know the risk. You are signing off the risk. We're talking about children. Some people, when they're children, they want to be a fire truck or a fireman or a spaceman or a dinosaur. Let's see here. You're wrong. Gender-affirming care is currently practiced on minors as child abuse, pure and simple. Sweden, Finland, and the UK have hit pause on these treatments because of the lack of quality evidence for the efficacy of these interventions. The woke hive mind, which is infesting many of our institutions, continue to push this nonsense because of ideology. The actual health and well-being of the children of the secondary importance. Eggs and omelets, don't you know? And that's all the comments I'm going to read because AL is going to be upsetting me because these are talking about children. This is talking about our future. We shouldn't be harming our future. We should be protecting our future at all costs. Now, once the children grow up to be members of the adult class, they can make those decisions on themselves. With that being said, that is my video for today. You can either hit the like and subscribe button. It's up to you. Doesn't really matter. You can leave a comment down below that I'm totally wrong or totally correct. Or you just want to say have a nice day. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.